Second part of Iron Man 2. This part is also about Tony Stark. This time the problem is different because Tony Stark revealed himself at the end of first Iron Man, and now American senators want his armor to be acquired by them because it's too danger to be used by one man. And in this scene when the senators discuss these matters, we see one senator who is whispering to another, and we know from different movies in Marvel universe that he was telling him Heil Hydra. So he was an agent of this ominous, sinister organization, Hydra, which we know the history from the first Captain America. But it is good to see now that, for example, we know that this whisper was an indication that the senator was a Hydra agent, and they also wanted to confiscated all research materials and all prototype designs of new Iron Man costume. Also, Tony Stark prepared another Iron Man suit, another armor, far better looking than the old one from the first movie. And he's anxious because he discovered that he's dying because of a poison to this core which he is embedded because he had accident in first Iron Man, and to be Iron Man, to use these costumes, he has this power core implanted into his chest. But now he discovers that he is also dying because of the poison of some elements in this core. And for example, as Robert Downey Jr., who is playing Tony Stark, Tony Stark as a Tony Stark and also as an Iron Man is a very narcissistic character, very rich. His father was extremely rich person, and Tony is also very intelligent and very mindful about the business side and the scientific side of his interests. But he also likes to show that he's a Casanova of modern times. He's a playboy of modern times. So, for example, he's in this in New York Times. We have an exhibition, and he's dancing with the dancers, and he's showing the whole world that Iron Man can protect whole Earth, and his suits are cannot be forged. They cannot be forged or copied by other rogue regimes on the earth. So he didn't he won this debate with the senators about giving his suit to the American government. But also he has a new nemesis. This new nemesis is Ivan Vanko, and Ivan Vanko father was an associate of Tony Stark father, and they invented this core, which is the primal element to use in Iron Man suit. And now Ivan Vanko want to revenge his father death, because there were some disputes between Ivan Vanko father and Tony Stark father, and he prepared his own kind of a suit with this fusion core. And they battle for the first time in Monaco because Tony Stark is so proud of himself that he for example drives in a very fast Formula One Monaco championship, but knowing that he is dying because of this fusion core, but his attitude is very reckless, so, at least sometimes. And in this first fight, he defeated Vanko. Vanko is put in prison, but whole world sees that that Tony Stark is weak, that he's not invincible, and we have also this arc that Tony Stark is postponing his meeting with the audiences, and he got he got some help from Shield agent Nick Fury, and he's trying to improve the prototype of his fusion core, so he would not die. But he also discovers some new elements about his father, very traumatic childhood, difficult relations between him and his father, and also about Nick Fury, the Shield initiative. We know more and more things about these past topics. Um, yes, so I would tell generally that Iron Man 2, even though it was a box office hit, it wasn't very well. Oh my God, I don't know English word. Very well perceived by critics. And I think that Iron Man, because right now we have three Iron Man movies, Iron Man 1, 2, and 3, and I think that this one is in the middle. It's not the worst, because for me the worst is the third part, but it is also not the best, because for me the best is the first movie. But here we have this more of an action movie, because first Iron Man was, even though it was the first Marvel universe in this universe, um, it had action in Afghanistan, of course, but I would say half of it, and half of it was the dimension of Tony Stark feelings, his emotions, his mental state, his even spiritual state, his completely changed attitude toward war, profiting, producing weapons of mass destruction. And here in Iron Man 2, we have more of a history of the Marvel world. So we, for example, have this topic about Nick Fury, father of Tony Stark. They created the Shield initiative, and this initiative was created probably in the 40s, 30s of the 20th century, so just right before Second World War. We know a little bit about that in this Shield initiative there were tycoons and businessmen from America, but they were also very rich and very intelligent. Um, Yes, and we have also in this movie we have first appearance of Natasha Romanova as a assistant to Tony Stark, and only later we discovered we will discover that he is Black Widow, another Marvel character and an agent of Shield, and we also have Pet. Um, we also have this woman played. I don't even know the role of the actress. His name in the her name is in the movie is Perry Potter or something like that. Unfortunately, I forgot, and she is like a girlfriend to a Tony Stark, but also she is now the CEO of Stark Industries. So she is this. So Tony decided to to improve his science abilities, not only about the suit, but also about the different aspects of his potential. For example, upgrading different technologies, and now this lady is a official CEO of Stark Industries, and we have a very interesting conversation that he's ousted from his office, and he needs some calm place when he can focus on this problem, on this dilemma. And finally he discovered that this fusion core can be upgraded in him and will not kill him. So this is success for him, but he also needs to confront Ivan Vanko for the final moment, and he does that. But the worst part of Iron Man 2 movie is that even Vanko, though playing by a very famous character, the final fight is very weak. It's almost non-existent, and I would say that the first villain of first Iron Man was far better. And unfortunately here, Ivan Vanko is not. He's a good researcher. He can make armors almost as good as Tony Stark, but the fight between them is almost non-existent. Ivan Vanko almost immediately is immediately vanquished and commit suicide. There is also this second tier character, supporting character of John Hammer, who is a businessman, entrepreneur, and a concurrent to like a business opponent to Tony Stark. He frees Ivan Vanko from prison, and for example, he knows that Ivan Vanko likes big parrots, so he bought him one to improve the relations between each other. But unfortunately, this Hammer guy is more like a business entrepreneur of USA type, and unfortunately Ivan Vanko is not very extrovert character, and he's Russian, so he's rather slowly speaking, not very well developed skills in English and in Russian, and he's more of a scientist, introvert character. But this combination of John Hammer as was funny sometimes, and though I don't like the humor in most Marvel movies, I think that in the at the beginning of Marvel universe, in these first movies, it was okay. Yes, so this humor was lukewarm. It was not very over the top, and sometimes it was really very funny. And let me know in the comments what do you think about Iron Man 2. I couldn't find any reasonable review about Iron Man 2. Because I always try to listen to different reviewers about the movie which I will review, but Angry Joe didn't do review. Didn't review movies at that time yet, and even Chris Stackman didn't do a review of Iron Man 2. And Red Letter Media, the YouTube channel which I like very much, also didn't do the review of Iron Man 2. So I was only on my own and my own thoughts about this movie. But as a movie, it was a hit. It was a box office hit. And I think that from the perspective, I think it was not as bad as I see it in the first place, because Iron Man 2 was much more serious movie. Second one is much more action packed movie, but still I think it's an okay movie. It is worth to watch. Give me your thoughts in the comments about Iron Man 2 and advantages and disadvantages of this production.